Picture this. The Empire's most elite Jedi hunters, the Inquisitors, are supposed to be the galaxy's ultimate boogeymen. Cold, efficient, unstoppable. Yet in episodes 7 and 8, we watch two of their deadliest, Marrok, the first brother, and the 11th brother, that terrifying crow in the bird-like mask, get outmaneuvered and sent scrambling on what should have been a routine cleanup job. And the reason they're there, it's not just because Maul is rebuilding a criminal syndicate on a planet the Empire hasn't bothered with yet. No, it's because of the one specific thing he's planning that has the entire Inquisitorius quietly terrified. Hey there, friends. Grab your calf, pull up a chair, and let's settle in for one of those deep dives that feels more like catching up with an old holovid buddy than a lecture. You know the kind. The ones where we peel back the layers on Star Wars lore that make you lean in and go, wait, really? Today we're talking about something that's been sitting with me since the latest episodes of Maul Shadow Lord dropped. Stick with me. By the end of this, you'll see how a single disillusioned Padawan, a hidden planet called Janix, and one very broken Zabrak with a cybernetic grudge are forcing the Empire to rethink everything they thought they controlled. Sound too dramatic for calf time? Trust me, this one's worth the second cup. Let's dive in. All right, let's anchor ourselves in the bigger picture, because context is everything in Star Wars, right? We're a few years into the Empire's reign. Order 66 has come and gone. The Jedi are scattered, hunted, or gone, and Palpatine's new order is tightening its grip. But out on the edges of the mid-rim, there are still pockets of the galaxy that haven't felt the full weight of Imperial boots yet. Enter Janix, the gritty, neon-soaked underworld planet that's basically been flying under the radar. Think a mix of Coruscant's underlevels and Tatooine's lawlessness, but with its own unique flavor of desperation and opportunity. Maul, or as he's now styling himself, the Shadow Lord, has chosen Janix precisely because the Empire hasn't noticed it yet. After everything Sidious put him through, after the legs chopped off, the years of madness on Lotho Minor, the betrayal after betrayal, Maul isn't just raging anymore. He's calculating. He's rebuilding his criminal syndicate, the kind of power base that will eventually become the foundation for something much bigger. But this time it's quieter, smarter, more personal. He's not announcing himself with armies. He's embedding himself in the shadows, forging alliances with smugglers, mercenaries, even a Mandalorian warrior or two. And here's where the cozy insight kicks in, guys. Maul's whole Shadow Lord title isn't just edgy branding, it's a reflection of how he sees himself now, a figure operating in the dark spaces the Empire can't fully control. It's almost poetic when you think about it. The man who was once Palpatine's weapon, discarded like scrap, is now carving out his own domain. But the Empire, they're starting to catch wind, and that's when Marrok shows up. Marrok, the first brother, is no slouch. We've seen him in Ahsoka get beaten like a drum, but here in Shadow Lord, he's in his prime apparently, hunting with that cold precision the Inquisitors are known for. He's dispatched after the Imperial Security Bureau picks up chatter about Jedi and Maul's presence in Janix City. Standard procedure, right? Hunt the rogue Sith, eliminate the threat before it spreads. Except Marrok quickly realizes this isn't just another ex-Sith causing trouble in the underworld. During a raid on the Janix Civil Defense Headquarters, Maul isn't just grabbing some criminal asset named Ludi Vario. He stumbles across and essentially rescues in his own twisted way a young Twi'lek Jedi Padawan named Devon Izara, and her master Iko Diodaki isn't far behind. These are surviving Jedi, living, breathing remnants of the order the Empire has spent years trying to stamp out. Devon's story alone could fill an entire video, a Padawan on the run, scraping by, disillusioned after Order 66, trying to protect her master while the galaxy burns around them. Maul sees her potential immediately. He doesn't try to kill her. He offers her something the Jedi never could in these dark times: real power, training beyond their teachings, a chance to strike back at the Empire that betrayed them both. He even sits her down for what feels like a twisted tea ceremony, laying out his vision. "We have a common enemy," he tells her. It's chilling because for once Maul's pitch isn't pure rage. There's this calculated empathy born from his own trauma that makes it dangerously persuasive. Marrok witnesses enough of this to know Maul isn't just rebuilding a crime syndicate. He's recruiting Force users, turning Jedi survivors into weapons for his Shadow Lord empire. And that, folks, is the one specific thing that has the Inquisitors terrified. Think about it. The Inquisitorius exists for one reason: to hunt down and eliminate every last Jedi. They're Palpatine and Vader's cleanup crew. If word gets out that a former Sith Lord is successfully flipping Padawans to his side, training them in the dark side while keeping them loyal to him instead of the Empire, it doesn't just undermine their mission. It creates a rival power base that could actually challenge the Sith's monopoly on the dark side. Maul knows secrets about Sidious that even the Inquisitors don't. Pair that with a Force-sensitive apprentice who's already survived Order 66, that's not a nuisance. That's a strategic nightmare. So Marrok does what any smart operative would do. He calls for backup. And the Empire doesn't send just anyone. They send the 11th brother, also known as the Crow. Now the conflict chain really kicks into high gear. Episodes 7 and 8 are basically non-stop tension. Marrok and the Crow arrive together, stormtroopers in tow, locking down sections of Janix City. Maul's makeshift crew, his syndicate loyalists, including his Zabrak Knight brothers, scrambles to hold the line, but it's the duel that steals the show. Maul, still dealing with damaged cybernetic legs from earlier scrapes, faces off against two highly trained Inquisitors in a breathtaking sequence set against waterfalls and cavernous undercity chasms. Lightsabers clash in that signature red glow. The Crow's spinning Inquisitor blade whirs with terrifying precision. Marrok presses the attack with cold efficiency. They've got Maul cornered, or so it seems. Here's the reflective bit that hits different. Maul isn't fighting like the wild animal we saw in the Clone Wars. He's tactical. He stalls, maneuvers, uses the environment, even brings a cave section down on them at one point to buy time. His crew fights alongside him in a way that shows real loyalty is forming. And Devon, she's caught in the middle, forced to confront whether Maul's offer is salvation or damnation. The Inquisitors nearly have him. Marrok even taunts that the Emperor wants Maul dead. Maul's reply, a chilling likewise. It's a moment that reminds you this isn't just hero-villain stuff. These are three broken Force users, each shaped by the Empire's rise in their own painful way. But Maul escapes, barely. When the Crow closes in for the kill, one of Maul's Knight brothers sacrifices his life to buy a precious second of time. Then Maul brings the cave roof down, slips away into the depths of Janix, and survives a free fall off a massive waterfall by spinning his ignited saber to carve through the structure below. The Inquisitors are left regrouping, bloodied and empty-handed, and you can feel the creeping fear in the air because now they know. Maul's plan isn't theoretical anymore. He's actively turning the very people they're supposed to hunt into his greatest assets. Worth noting, these two Inquisitors don't die here. Their fates are already written elsewhere in the canon. Both Marrok and the Crow eventually meet their end at the hands of Ahsoka Tano, years down the line. Today, they just had to accept that Maul got away. Let's take a breath and connect some dots, the way we do in these cozy dives. Remember Maul's entire arc? From the proud warrior of the Phantom Menace to Sidious's discarded tool to the vengeful crime lord who built the Shadow Collective only to watch it crumble. In Shadow Lord, we're seeing the evolution of that pain into something more insidious, strategy, wrapped in shared trauma. Devon Izara represents the perfect target, a young Jedi who's seen the Order fail her, who's starving and desperate on the run. Maul doesn't just offer power, he offers purpose. Chains can be broken, he essentially tells her. It's the same promise he once chased, twisted through his own suffering. And the real-world parallel? Think about how real underdogs in history or even modern organized groups recruit from the disillusioned. They don't just promise money or power, they promise belonging after betrayal. That's what makes this so dangerously effective. Meanwhile, the Inquisitors, former Jedi themselves, remember, are living proof of what happens when the Empire does get its hooks in you. They're tools, disposable hunters. Sending the Crow as reinforcement isn't just tactical. It's an admission that one Inquisitor wasn't enough against a single ex-Sith and his growing network. The terror isn't loud, it's that quiet realization. If Maul can flip even one Padawan, how many more survivors are out there who might listen? We get these beautiful character moments too. Maul's legs malfunctioning mid-fight, a callback to his physical and emotional scars, his Night Brother falling in battle, a loss that hits harder because it echoes Maul's own grief over Savage. Devon's internal struggle playing out in the background. It all stacks these mini conflicts, Syndicate versus Empire troops on the bridges, the personal duel in the caves, the political maneuvering back at Imperial Command. Every 60 to 90 seconds, the stakes climb. Will Devon join him? Will the Syndicate hold? Can two Inquisitors actually put down the Shadow Lord before his plan spreads? And here's where the emotional graph keeps climbing without flatlining. The Inquisitor's mission wasn't just kill the criminal, it was stop the recruitment. Because a Shadow Lord with a Jedi-trained apprentice isn't building a gang. He's building the seeds of something that could become Crimson Dawn, or even challenge Vader himself one day. Maul's not crazy for revenge anymore. He's methodical, and that's what scares them most. We see Maul's more selfless side peek through too, that vow, looking at a reflection of his childhood self to never let what Sidious did to him happen to anyone else. It's dark side flavored, sure, but it humanizes him in a way that makes you pause over your calf and think, is this the beginning of the man who will one day lead the Syndicates against the Empire in ways we've only glimpsed in Solo? Let me paint the full picture of that epic confrontation because the choreography and tension deserve their own deep dive. The bridge battle, stormtroopers clashing with Maul's mercenaries while the Force users weave through the chaos. A Night Brother charging in to knock the Crow off balance, giving Maul the split second he needs. The way the 11th Brother's mask, that angular white crow beak with piercing red eyes, just looms in the shadows. The creaking sound design they added for him, pure nightmare fuel that makes every head turn feel predatory. Then the cave sequence, pure cinematic gold, waterfalls reflecting red blades, Maul's cybernetics glitching under the strain, the Inquisitors pressing their advantage, forcing him to his knees, only for sacrifice and sheer will to turn the tide just enough. Maul doesn't win clean, he survives smarter, and in doing so, he proves to Devon and to us that his way might actually work where the Jedi failed. This stacks layer after layer, the personal betrayal Devon feels toward the Order, the loyalty tests within Maul's crew, the Imperial frustration that a broken Sith is outmaneuvering their best hunters. Every scene raises the emotional stakes. You're not just watching action, you're feeling the weight of what this means for the galaxy's underworld power balance. Here's a thoughtful nugget that always sticks with me in these stories. Maul's evolution mirrors something we see in real-world psychology and even history. Trauma survivors often rebuild by creating new families, sometimes healthy, sometimes not. Maul's offering Devon a dark mirror of the Jedi Order, rigorous training, purpose, belonging, but fueled by rage instead of hope. It's why the Inquisitors panic. They know better than anyone how seductive that path can be. They walked it themselves. Compare it to his earlier arcs. In Son of Dathomir or the Clone Wars Syndicate days, it was brute force and alliances of convenience. Now, it's targeted, personal, almost mentorship-driven. The Shadow Lord title fits perfectly. He's operating in the literal and metaphorical shadows, building something the bright lights of the Empire can't easily burn away. And Janix itself? The world building here is chef's kiss, a planet the Empire ignored because it seemed too chaotic to bother with. Until it wasn't. It's the perfect metaphor for how cracks in the system let new powers rise. Maul chose it deliberately. The one place where a Padawan could hide, a syndicate could grow, and Inquisitors would have to scramble to respond. Genius writing. As the episodes wrap, we're left with Maul battered, separated from his crew, but unbroken. Episode 8 goes somewhere even deeper, a Force vision sequence where Maul relives being torn from his brother Savage as a child, trained through abuse by Sidious, losing everything he ever loved. It's the most vulnerable we've ever seen him. And when he pulls himself back together, staring at a reflection of his childhood self and whispering that he won't let Sidious do this to anyone else, you feel it. That's not just revenge anymore. That's a mission. Devon is still resisting for now. The Inquisitors regroup, knowing they've only delayed the inevitable. And in the shadows, Crimson Dawn just made first contact. The Jedi Purge might not be as clean as the Empire thought. One successful recruitment could inspire others. One Shadow Lord with a Force-wielding apprentice could destabilize entire sectors. The Inquisitors sent their best because they had to, not because Maul was a random criminal, but because his plan strikes at the heart of their existence. So let's tie every loop together, the way a good story should. Remember that opening hook about the Inquisitor's terror? We've seen it play out. Marrok's initial failure, the urgent call for the Crow, the desperate 2-on-1 duel, the narrow escape that proves Maul's network is already stronger than they anticipated. The one specific thing he's planning, recruiting and empowering surviving Jedi like Devon Izara, isn't just a side quest, it's the core threat. It flips the script on everything the Empire built the Inquisitorius to prevent. Maul isn't crazy anymore. He's strategic, broken, yes, vengeful, absolutely. But in Shadow Lord, we're watching a man who learned from every betrayal and is now building something that could outlast him. And the Inquisitors know it. That's why they're terrified. What does this mean going forward? It sets up so much for Maul's larger canon journey. The Crimson Dawn connection is no longer theoretical, it's right there knocking on his door, and the finale on May 4th can't come soon enough. But more than that, it gives us this rich, reflective look at redemption, revenge, and what happens when the hunted become the hunters in their own way. If you're still with me, and I hope you are because we've covered a lot of ground, drop a comment. Do you think Devon ultimately joins Maul, or does she find her own path? Who's Marrok reporting to? I read every single one. These conversations are half the fun of these deep dives. Thanks for hanging out with me over CAF today. If this cozy breakdown of Maul's Shadow Lord plans, the Inquisitor's secret mission, and that one terrifying detail hit the spot, hit that like button, subscribe for more relaxed lore explorations, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, may the Force be with us all, and watch those shadows. They might be hiding more than you think.